Ethan, stop moving! Clara laughed as she adjusted my tie. Her soft fingers brushed my neck, and I felt a warmth that made everything else fade. You'll ruin the pictures before we even take them. I'm just nervous, I said, smiling. You'd think after 3 years together, I'd be used to your bossy tone. She rolled her eyes. It's called perfectionism. You should thank me for making you look good. I always look good, I teased. You just make me believe it. Liam's voice came from behind us. You two make me sick with all that sweetness. He smirked, stepping between us. If you keep acting like this, half the guests will throw up before dessert. I laughed, patting his shoulder. You're just jealous because no one wants to marry your sarcastic mouth. Correction, he said, pointing at me with mock seriousness. They all want to marry me. They just don't survive my honesty, Clara giggled. Honesty? You mean arrogance, he grinned. It's a fine line. We all laughed, and for a moment everything felt perfect. The music, the scent of roses, my mother's joyful tears. It was a memory I thought I'd carry forever. But even then, I noticed it. The way Clara's eyes flickered to her phone. The brief tension in her smile before she tucked it away. Who's that? I asked casually. Oh, just work, she said quickly. You know how demanding Mr. Hayes is. Liam looked away, sipping his drink. I didn't think much of it. Maybe I should have. Work on a Sunday, I said, half joking. She kissed my cheek. You worry too much. Just focus on us, okay? I nodded, forcing a smile. Yeah, you're right. Us. Later that evening, as the party faded, Liam pulled me aside. You really love her, huh? More than I thought possible, I admitted. She's my everything. He looked at me strangely, almost like he wanted to say something but stopped himself. Good, he said finally. You deserve to be happy. Thanks, man. You're the brother I never had. He laughed lightly, but his eyes didn't match the sound. Don't say that. You'll make me emotional. When I got home that night, Clara was already there, sitting on the couch with her phone in her lap. You're quiet, I said softly, sitting beside her. Just tired, she replied. Big day, right? I reached for her hand. Yeah, but worth every second. She smiled faintly, but her gaze lingered somewhere else. You sure everything's okay? I asked again. She sighed. Ethan, please. Not tonight. I'm just overwhelmed. All right, I murmured. I just want you to know you can tell me anything. I know, she said, leaning against me. You always say that. We sat there in silence. The warmth between us felt thinner than before, like glass that could shatter if I moved wrong. Days passed, and those silences grew longer. She spent more time at work, came home late, smelled like perfume that wasn't hers. When I asked, she smiled too easily. Stop being paranoid, she said one night. You're imagining things. I'm not accusing you, I said carefully. I just want honesty. Then trust me, she replied coldly. If you can't, maybe we shouldn't be getting married. Her words hit me harder than she knew. Don't say that, Clara. I'm just scared of losing you. You won't, she whispered, turning away. But deep down, I already felt the distance stretching. I noticed Liam texting more often, leaving group chats suddenly, canceling plans. Clara's phone buzzed late at night and she'd silence it without checking. Who's texting you? I asked one evening. She frowned. Why are you so controlling lately? I'm not controlling, I said quietly. I'm just noticing things. She stood up. Then stop noticing. Not everything's about you, Ethan. Her voice cracked, but she walked away before I could respond. That night, I stood by the window staring at the city lights. I wanted to believe her, believe us. I told myself love was enough, that every couple fought before the wedding, but a part of me, a quiet, trembling part, knew something was slipping through my fingers. I just didn't know how much I was about to lose. It was a cold Friday night. The kind where the air feels heavy and silence presses on your chest. I held a bouquet of roses, smiling at the thought of surprising Clara. She'd been distant all week and I wanted to fix that. When I unlocked the door, the lights were dim. I called out, Clara? You home? No answer. Then faintly her laugh. I followed the sound down the hall. It came from the bedroom. My heart sped up, though I didn't know why. I heard a man's voice next. Familiar. Too familiar. Liam, I froze. My hand trembled on the door handle. Clara, he whispered, his tone low. Stop, she said softly. breathless. Ethan might. He's working late. Relax. The roses slipped from my hand. I pushed the door open. They both turned. Time shattered. Liam was shirtless. Clara was wrapped in our bedsheet. Her face turned pale. Ethan, she stammered. I couldn't speak. The world tilted and my breath caught in my throat. Liam stepped forward. Listen, man. Don't, I said quietly. My voice didn't sound like mine. Don't you dare talk. Clara clutched the sheet tighter. It's not what it looks like. I laughed. A hollow, broken sound. Not what it looks like? You're in my bed with my best friend, please, she whispered. It just happened. Just happened, I repeated, staring at her. You tripped and fell into him? Liam looked away. It was a mistake. We didn't mean to, I snapped. How long? Ethan, how long? I shouted. She flinched. A few weeks, she said, voice shaking. It wasn't supposed to go this far. A few weeks. While I was planning our wedding, I felt my chest tighten. You said you loved me, I whispered. I did, she said. I still do. Don't, I cut her off. Don't you dare say that. Liam took a step closer. I'll take responsibility, all right? Don't make this worse. Responsibility? I repeated, glaring at him. You took everything from me. My trust, my fiancé, my brotherhood. And you think that word fixes it? He sighed. Ethan, we didn't plan this. We just... Connected. I shook my head slowly. Connected, I echoed. You connected in my home, in my bed, while I was breaking my back to build our future. Clara started crying. Please don't make this harder than it already is. Harder for you? I said. You made your choice. I just never thought it would be him. Liam rubbed the back of his neck. Maybe we should all calm down. I stared at him, the man who knew every secret I ever had. The man I called my brother. You think I'm going to hit you? I said quietly. You're not worth that, he frowned. I didn't want you to find out this way, I laughed bitterly. There's no right way to find out your best friend sleeping with your fiancé, Liam. Clara sobbed harder. Ethan, please, I didn't want to hurt you. You already did, I said. And you did it perfectly. She reached for me. Please, talk to me, I stepped back. Don't touch me. Her lip trembled. Where are you going? Out, I said. You can keep the apartment. You two deserve each other, Liam called after me. Ethan, don't walk out like this. I turned once at the doorway. You should have thought of that before you walked into my life. Then I left. Outside, the wind hit hard. My breath came in sharp bursts. The city lights blurred through my tears. I walked without knowing where I was going, just away. Away from the house, away from them, away from everything I'd built. People passed by, laughing, living, while I was crumbling inside. I kept replaying it, her voice, his touch, their lies. By the time I reached the bridge, I stopped. I leaned on the cold rail, staring at the water below. I whispered, why them? Why me? No answer came, just the echo of my own voice breaking in the night. That was the moment something in me died. My love, my faith, the part of me that believed people always meant what they said. I dropped the ring into the river and watched it disappear beneath the dark current. And with it, I let go of the man I used to be. Ethan, you need to eat something, Mom said softly, placing a bowl of soup in front of me. I'm not hungry, I muttered, staring at the table. You haven't eaten in 2 days. I said I'm fine. She sighed. You're not fine. You're pale, you're shaking. I said I'm fine, Mom. My voice broke and the bowl rattled as I pushed it away. Please, just stop treating me like I'm dying. She went quiet. I hated myself for snapping, but I couldn't stand the pity in her eyes. Sweetheart, she said finally, you can't keep doing this to yourself. They're not worth your life. I laughed bitterly. Worth my life? They took my life, Mom, every part of it. Her hand trembled as she reached for me. Then take it back. I looked at her, hollow. How? Start by forgiving yourself for trusting the wrong people. I didn't answer. I didn't even know what forgiveness looked like anymore. When she left the room, I grabbed my phone out of habit and froze. Clara's face filled the screen, engaged to Liam Brooks. The headline glared at me. My stomach turned. There they were, smiling, hands intertwined, like my pain had been nothing but a stepping stone for their happiness. I threw the phone against the wall. You win, I whispered. You both win, but even as I said it, I didn't believe it. Why are you here, Ethan? Dr. Lewis's voice was calm, steady. His office smelled like old books and peppermint tea. Because apparently talking to strangers is supposed to fix betrayal, I said flatly. He smiled faintly. It doesn't fix it, but it can help you face it. I've faced it. Every night, every time I close my eyes. I see them. And what do you feel when you see them? I hesitated. Anger, shame, mostly emptiness, he nodded slowly. What about guilt? Guilt? I frowned. Why would I feel guilty? Because sometimes when people are betrayed, they blame themselves for not seeing it sooner. I looked down. Maybe I do. I should have known. The signs were all there. The late texts, the cold kisses, the lies I called excuses. Why didn't you confront them earlier? Because I loved her, I said quietly. Because I trusted him. Because I didn't want to believe that the two people I'd die for were capable of doing that to me. Dr. Lewis leaned back. So what are you mourning, Ethan? Her love or your illusion of it? I stared at the floor. Both, I whispered. But mostly, the illusion, he nodded. Then maybe that's your starting point. You can't heal what you keep pretending was real. I rubbed my temples. I don't even know who I am anymore. You're someone who survived, he said simply. And survivors rebuild. Later that night, I sat on the balcony with a glass of water that might as well have been poison. The city lights looked blurred, like they belonged to someone else's world. Sophie called. I let it ring twice before answering. Ethan, she said carefully, I heard about the photos. I'm so sorry. Don't be. Everyone's sorry. It doesn't help. You can come back to work tomorrow. You need to get out of that apartment. I can't face people, I said. They'll look at me and see the fool who got cheated on. No, she said firmly. They'll see the guy who's still standing. That's strength, not shame. Her words lingered long after the call ended. I went to the mirror. My reflection stared back. Tired eyes, unshaven jaw, lifeless stare. You're pathetic, I told myself. Look at you. But another voice quieter whispered, not yet. Not forever. That night, for the first time, I didn't cry. I just sat there, letting the silence fill the cracks. The pain didn't disappear, but it changed. It wasn't sharp anymore. It was cold, heavy, waiting, and somewhere deep inside, beneath the wreckage, something shifted. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't peace. It was a spark, small, almost invisible, but real, a purpose. The next morning, when Mom asked if I was going to work, I nodded. She smiled, relieved. That's my boy. But I didn't tell her the truth. I wasn't going to work to move on. I was going to remember. To rebuild. To make sure every piece of pain had a purpose, because love had broken me. Now I needed something stronger to put me back together. And that something was revenge. Ethan, meet Amelia Rivers, Sophie said, motioning toward a woman standing by the window. She's handling the design project for the new branch. Amelia turned, her hair falling neatly over her shoulder. You're the architect, right? The one who hates early meetings? I blinked, guilty. And you must be the designer who insists every wall needs a story. She smiled faintly. Stories make spaces breathe. Something about her tone, calm, unhurried, made me pause. No pity, no forced warmth, just quiet confidence. Sophie clapped her hands. Good. You two will be working closely. Try not to kill each other. Then she left us alone. Amelia looked at me. So where do we start? Layout revisions, I said, opening my laptop. And coffee. I don't function without caffeine, she nodded. Black or with regret? I smirked. Black. The regret comes later. We spent the next few hours reviewing plans. She had opinions, sharp ones. I liked that. Most people avoided me lately, afraid I'd shatter under pressure. You're quiet, she said at one point, sketching over a blueprint. I'm working, I replied. Working doesn't mean you're here, she said softly. You look elsewhere. Her eyes met mine. I didn't answer, but she didn't push. That silence, why, it wasn't uncomfortable. It was understanding. By evening, when everyone else had gone home, we were still at it. Want to call it a night? She asked, glancing at the clock. I shrugged. I like the quiet. Me too, she said. Noise hides too much truth. Her words hung in the air longer than they should have. The next day, Sophie cornered me in the break room. "You're smiling," she said, narrowing her eyes. "I'm working with someone competent." "That's all?" "Uh-huh," she teased. "Competent and gorgeous, you mean?" I rolled my eyes. "She's professional, Sophie." "Don't start," Sophie grinned. "Fine. Just saying it's nice to see you." Breathing again! Breathing again! I didn't even realize I'd stopped. A week later, Amelia found me staring blankly at a screen full of failed drafts. "Tough day?" she asked. "Just the usual," I said. "Deadlines, clients, and a brain that refuses to cooperate." She set a coffee cup beside me. "Then take 5 minutes." "Step away! I don't need—" "You do," she interrupted gently. "You look like a man trying to rebuild a house while it's still on fire." I chuckled dryly. "That's painfully accurate." "Then start by putting out the flames," she said, one corner at a time. Her calmness disarmed me. "You always talk like that?" "Only when someone needs to hear it," she replied. I stared at her for a long moment. "You don't even know me." "I don't have to," she said. "Pain speaks a universal language." For the first time in months, I didn't look away. Later that evening, we worked side by side under the soft office lights. The sound of her pencil on paper was rhythmic, almost soothing. "You ever lose something you thought you couldn't live without?" I asked quietly. She didn't flinch. "Yes, what did you do?" "Lived anyway," she said simply. I leaned back. "You make it sound easy." "It wasn't," she said, meeting my eyes. "But surviving doesn't ask for permission." Something inside me shifted. I didn't want her sympathy. I wanted her strength. The next few nights became routine. Late coffee, quiet laughter, shared silence. One night, while we reviewed textures for a client's lounge, she asked, "Who hurt you, Ethan?" I hesitated. "Someone I trusted." "Two someones, actually." Her gaze softened. "And you think their betrayal defines you?" "Doesn't it?" I asked. "No," she said. "It just tested how far you can fall before standing again." Her words lingered like a heartbeat. I smiled faintly. "You really believe people rise again?" "I've seen it," she said. "In myself." I looked at her differently then, not as a co-worker, but as someone who carried her own ghosts with quiet grace. When I got home that night, I realized something strange. For the first time in months, I hadn't thought about Clara or Liam. Not once. Amelia's voice echoed in my mind. "You'll rise again." It wasn't a promise. It was a challenge, and for the first time, I wanted to try. The next morning, when she greeted me with that calm smile, I said, "Coffee's on me today." She raised an eyebrow. "Celebrating something?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "The first good night's sleep I've had in a long time." She smiled. "Then maybe you're already rising." Maybe I was, and for once I didn't look away. I never believed in fate. Not until that night at the conference. The hotel ballroom glowed gold with laughter and champagne. My firm had just secured a major contract. I should have felt proud. Instead, the air turned cold the moment I saw them. Clara, Liam, hand in hand. Smiling like the past had been rewritten for their comfort. I froze mid-step, every sound fading into a distant echo. "Ethan?" Sophie's voice broke through. "You okay?" I forced a nod. "Yeah, just didn't expect ghosts tonight." She followed my gaze, her smile vanishing. "You want to leave?" "No," I said, steadying my breath. "I'm not the one who should run." Liam spotted me first. He whispered something to Clara, and they started walking toward me. I wanted to look away. I didn't, not this time. "Ethan," Liam said, voice too smooth, too casual. "It's been a while, man," I smiled faintly. "Has it?" Clara shifted awkwardly beside him. "You look different. Alive?" I said. "Yeah, I guess betrayal has a way of teaching survival." Liam chuckled uneasily. "Still sharp-tongued, huh?" "Look, man, I know things ended badly, but we've all moved on." "Moved on?" I repeated, my jaw tightening. "That's one way to describe what you did," he shrugged. "We didn't plan it, Ethan. Feelings just spare me," I cut in. "I've heard enough excuses to fill a lifetime." Clara's voice trembled. "You have every right to hate me." "I don't," I said softly. "Hate takes effort. You're not worth that anymore." Her eyes glistened, but I stayed still. Liam cleared his throat. We're starting a new firm. Maybe we'll cross paths professionally. No hard feelings, right? I smiled, slow, deliberate. Of course. Business is business, he extended his hand. I stared at it for a beat, then took it. His palm was warm, confident. Mine, steady. Congratulations, I said. You finally built something together. Clara exhaled shakily. Ethan, I leaned in slightly. Just remember, some structures look strong until the cracks start showing. Her lips parted, but I turned away before she could answer. Sophie found me later near the balcony. That was intense, she said. Was it? I asked, sipping my drink. I thought it was civil. You were too calm, she said. That's scarier than yelling. I smirked faintly. Good, she eyed me. You're planning something. Am I? I asked, pretending to look confused. Yes, she said flatly. That smile isn't peace, it's a promise. I didn't deny it. As the night went on, I watched them from across the room. Liam mingled with investors, laughing like he owned the place. Clara stuck close, smiling for photos. Amelia approached quietly, her voice grounding me. You don't have to stay. I know. Then why do you? She asked. Because, I said, eyes fixed on them, I want them to see me standing, breathing, thriving. She nodded slowly. Revenge? No, I said. Not the kind they'd understand. I'm done bleeding. It's their turn to feel exposed. Amelia studied me for a moment. Just don't lose yourself proving you've healed. I looked at her. Who says I'm pretending? Your eyes, she whispered. They're still at war. Her honesty hit harder than I expected. Later, as I prepared to leave, Liam caught up again. Ethan, listen, he said, lowering his voice. Clara's been feeling guilty. Maybe someday— Don't, I said firmly. Don't make her guilt my responsibility. He hesitated. You really don't care anymore? I smiled faintly. I stopped caring the moment I realized I survived without you both. He blinked, confused. You sound different. I am, I said. You taught me how to rebuild, just not in the way you think. He forced a grin. Then good luck to you. You'll need it more, I replied. When I stepped outside, the city air felt cleaner. The night buzzed with noise and light, alive, indifferent. Amelia joined me at the curb. You handled that well. Maybe too well, I said. It almost scared me, she smiled softly. That's growth. You didn't burn. You contained the fire, I stared ahead. Containment isn't the same as peace. No, she said. But it's the start. As the car pulled up, I caught one last glimpse of the hotel behind us, their laughter echoing faintly through the glass doors. I wasn't angry anymore. I was ready, because the game had just begun, and this time, I'd be the one pulling the strings. We need a plan, Amelia said, leaning over my desk as if she could pull ideas out of the blueprints with her fingers. I already have one, I answered, pushing a print toward her. I need you to make it believable, beautiful, she traced a line. You mean the project that goes head-to-head with Liam's proposal? Yes, I watched her. She didn't flinch. I want something bold. Investors can't ignore it, Amelia looked up. That sounds like more than revenge, Ethan. Isn't revenge supposed to be smart, not petty? I asked. She closed her eyes. Don't let them own your heart again, she said softly. I'm not staying owned, I replied. I'm building proof I belong at the table. I tapped the blueprint. This will beat Liam's firm if we get specs right. Amelia smiled small. Architecture isn't clean, Ethan. People ruin clean plans. Then we make it ruin-proof, I said. Modular spaces, sustainability pitch, tie it to a story of resilience. You're turning my favorite word into a weapon, she teased. Maybe I am. I rubbed my hands. We need a presentation that stabs and soothes. Investors love safety wrapped in spectacle, she laughed. Emotional warfare, cute. If that's what it takes, I said. Clara and Liam will hear about it. They'll see we're serious. Are you doing this to hurt them or to prove you can survive? She asked. Both, I admitted. Hurting them is a consequence. Surviving is the goal. Then don't let revenge be your only fuel. It burns fast. You sound like my therapist, I muttered. Better than your ex-fiancé, she shot back. I laughed. Touché. We worked late. Coffee cups multiplied. I sketched, she colored, we argued over samples and compromised. The project grew teeth. One night, Amelia switched off the main lights and came over. What happens if you win? I looked up. What do you mean? If your project succeeds, what then? Will revenge end, or will it turn into something else? I'll feel justified, I said slowly. But I hope it's more. I want a life that doesn't spin around betrayal. Then let life be the reward, not their downfall, she said. I'm not sure I can separate the two yet, I admitted. They broke me. Victory will taste like proof. Amelia reached for my hand. I'll help you build the life, Ethan, not just the plans. Her hold felt real. I nodded. Appreciate you. But rage still drives a lot of this. Then let me remind you to sleep, she said gently, and eat, and stop talking to ghosts by midnight. Ghosts? I smirked. You mean Clara and Liam? Yes, they're taking up too much space in your head. You think I don't know that? I snapped, ashamed. I don't know how to stop. Start with one night of no plotting, she said. Just one. Deal, one night. She smiled. I'll hold you to that. Walking home that night, blueprints under my arm, the project gave me something other than rage, a task, a way to pour pain into craft. I rehearsed my pitch, pictured investors' faces, imagined Liam's smirk fading. At my door, my phone pinged. Liam, a professional brief about an event. I didn't respond. Instead, I messaged Amelia, "Does revenge look good in a suit?" She replied, "Depends who wears it." I smiled. Maybe revenge could be tailored. Maybe it could be practice for a life I built for myself, not theirs. Either way, the blueprints were no longer just wood and stone. They were plans for a different future, and I would spend every sleepless night making sure those plans stood upright when the storm came. The next morning, Sophie cornered me. "You look like a man with a plan and a vendetta," she said. "Is that a bad look?" I asked. "Depends," she said. "Make sure the plan doesn't become your prison." "It won't," I said. "It will be the thing that frees me." She studied me. "Promise me you'll call me before midnight if you start obsessing." "I promise," I said, laughing. "And if I break it, drag me out." Sophie grinned. "Deal. Don't forget to live while you build." When the first rumor reached my desk, I didn't believe it. Liam's company? Falling apart? It sounded too poetic to be real. But by the end of the week, it wasn't rumor anymore. It was news. Sophie burst into my office, waving her phone. "You've seen this?" I looked up. "No, what is it now?" She grinned. "Your old friend is trending. Fraud allegations shake Ridgeway Construction. That's Liam's firm, right?" I stared at the headline, the letters almost glowing. "Fraud," I repeated quietly. "That's fast. Faster than karma usually works," she said, smirking. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. Clara's father funded him. "If he finds out, Liam's finished." "Finds out?" Sophie said. "He already knows. Pulled every dollar this morning." I felt something inside me settle. Not joy, not triumph. Just quiet closure. Later that evening, Amelia walked into my office with coffee. "You heard?" "About Liam?" I asked. "About his empire crumbling," she said softly. "Half the staff quit. Investors are pulling out." "It's bad," I nodded. "I thought I'd feel happier. You don't?" she asked. I looked out the window. I thought revenge would taste like victory. "But it feels like watching a house I used to live in burn down." She set the cup in front of me. "Maybe because you still remember what it looked like before the fire." "Maybe," I murmured. "But I didn't start this." "He did." "Sometimes you don't need to strike back," Amelia said. "People build their own collapse." I looked at her. "You think this is karma?" "I think this is math," she said. "Bad choices add up," I chuckled. "You're too calm for this." "I told you, I design spaces, not vendettas," she said. "But I am glad you're not the one losing sleep anymore." That night, someone knocked on my apartment door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, I froze. "Emily?" I said. Liam's sister stood there, pale, trembling, clutching her bag. "Hi, Ethan," she whispered. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside silently. She walked in, sat down like her legs might collapse. "What happened?" I asked, her eyes filled instantly. "Everything. The company's gone, Clara's gone, and Liam..." She swallowed hard. "Liam's ruined." I stayed quiet. She looked at me. "You probably think he deserves it." "I think," I said carefully. "He finally caught up to himself." She nodded, tears spilling. He never loved Clara, Ethan. Not really. I frowned. What do you mean? He used her, she said. He told me once. Clara's father was the prize. Not her, not you. He said you were too safe, too moral to take shortcuts. He laughed about it. My jaw clenched. He laughed? She nodded. He said you'd spend your life building things while he'd buy them. That was his difference, he said. Risk. I leaned forward. And now? Now he's lost everything, she said. Clara left him when her father cut ties. She said he'd used her. He's been drinking, raging, blaming everyone. I closed my eyes. So that's what it takes for him to feel something. Ethan. Emily hesitated. I'm sorry for everything he did. You didn't deserve any of it. I met her gaze. Neither did you, she let out a shaky breath. He's my brother. I tried to stop him. But he only ever listened to himself. I nodded. That's what makes him dangerous. Do you hate him? She asked quietly. I thought about it. The lies, the laughter, the betrayal. No, I said finally. Not anymore. Hate's heavy. I'm tired of carrying it. Her shoulders dropped, relief softening her expression. You've changed. I had to, I said. Survival demands evolution, she smiled sadly. You always were the better man. I looked away. No, I was just the one who learned slower. After she left, I sat in silence. My phone buzzed, Amelia again. You okay? I typed back. Liam's sister came. It's over, she replied. Over or beginning again? I stared at her message for a long time before replying. Maybe both. I set the phone down, exhaling. I didn't feel vengeance. I didn't feel justice. I felt something else. Peace. Liam and Clara were gone from my orbit. I didn't need to punish them. Life had already done it better than I ever could. For the first time since that night, the one that tore my world apart, I didn't feel broken. I felt free, and that, I realized, was the real victory. The chaos had finally quieted. Liam's downfall became yesterday's gossip. Clara's name faded from whispers, and for the first time in months, silence didn't feel like punishment. It felt like peace. Amelia still came by, not out of pity, not out of habit. She came because she wanted to. One evening, she appeared at my door holding 2 cups of coffee. You still take it black, right? I smiled faintly. You remembered? I remember the important things, she said, stepping in. We sat by the window, the city glowing beneath us. For a while, neither of us spoke. I watched her trace the rim of her cup, her fingers trembling slightly. You've been quiet lately, I said. So have you, she replied. Maybe we're both learning what peace sounds like. I chuckled softly. I didn't think peace would be this empty. It's not empty, she said. It's just waiting for something new to fill it. I turned to her. And what do you think that is? She looked down, her voice barely above a whisper. Maybe love? I froze. The word hung between us like fragile glass. Love? She met my eyes, steady now. Yes, I didn't plan it, Ethan. I just fell. My chest tightened. Amelia, she held up a hand. You don't have to say anything. I know what you've been through. I know love hasn't been kind to you. I set my cup down, trying to steady my thoughts. Kind isn't the word I'd use. She smiled sadly. Then maybe it's time to give it a new definition. I laughed quietly, shaking my head. You make it sound simple. It doesn't have to be complicated, she said. Sometimes it's just 2 people choosing each other even after everything. I looked at her. Really looked. The way the streetlights caught her hair, the gentleness in her eyes. She wasn't Clara. She wasn't anyone I had to win or prove myself to. She was just... Here? Why me? I asked. She blinked. Why not you? You've seen me at my worst, I said. Broken, angry, obsessed with revenge. I've seen you survive, she replied. And that's exactly why. I let out a long breath. I don't know if I can love again. Then don't, she said softly. Just start with trust. Her words disarmed me. No promises, no expectations, just trust. I stared at our hands resting close together on the table. You really think I deserve that? I think you deserve someone who won't run when things get hard, she said. Someone who stays. The room went still. Then, slowly, she reached out and took my hand. Her fingers were warm, steady. Something in me shifted. Not the wild rush I once mistook for love, but something quieter, stronger. Safety. You don't have to be afraid anymore, she whispered. I'm not afraid, I said. Just cautious. Caution isn't fear, she replied. It's wisdom, and I can live with that. I looked down at our joined hands. You really mean this? I wouldn't be here if I didn't, she said simply. I smiled, small, uncertain, but real. You know, I used to think love was supposed to hurt. That pain proved it was real. She squeezed my hand. Maybe love isn't supposed to test us. Maybe it's supposed to heal what the test broke. Her words sank into me like warmth after a long winter. I don't know where this goes, I admitted. Neither do I, she said. But maybe that's the beauty of it. I laughed under my breath. You always find the right words. I just say what I feel, she said. And right now I feel lucky. We sat there, hands entwined, city lights flickering like quiet witnesses. The world outside moved fast. Cars, people, noise, but inside, time slowed. I think, I said finally, you might be the calm after my storm. She smiled, eyes glistening. Then maybe I was meant to find you in the wreckage. I leaned back, letting the moment sink in. For the first time, love didn't feel like a battlefield. It felt like coming home. When she rested her head on my shoulder, I closed my eyes and let myself breathe. No revenge. No ghosts, just her. And in that silence, I realized love hadn't betrayed me after all. It had just been waiting for the right person to remind me what it could be. The rain hadn't stopped all morning. I ducked into a quiet cafe just to get out of the cold. The place smelled like old wood and burnt espresso, comforting in a way. Then I saw him. Liam. He sat slumped in the corner, a half-empty glass of whiskey next to his untouched coffee. His hair was longer, his eyes hollow. For a second, I almost didn't recognize him. The man who once strutted through boardrooms like he owned the world now looked like he'd forgotten what owning anything felt like. He noticed me. Our eyes met. A flicker of something passed through his face. Shame, maybe, or the ghost of arrogance trying to hide it. Ethan, he said finally, his voice rough. Didn't think I'd ever see you again. I wasn't planning on it, I replied, keeping my tone even. He laughed bitterly. Guess fate loves irony. I walked closer, not sitting yet. You look different. Destroyed, you mean? He said, forcing a grin that didn't last. Yeah, guess karma doesn't take bribes. I stayed silent, watching him swirl his drink. Clara left, he said after a pause. Her father cut her off. She said she couldn't handle it anymore. I nodded slowly. You mean she couldn't handle what you became? He sighed. Maybe, or maybe she just finally saw through me. You always said honesty was a weakness, I reminded him. Looks like it's the only thing left standing, he winced. You always had that way of turning a knife without raising your voice. Don't flatter me, I said. I'm not here for revenge. He looked up, eyes bloodshot. Then why are you here? To see what I've already moved on from, I answered. He gave a short, humorless laugh. You did move on. I saw the articles. Your project, your firm. You and that designer, Amelia, right? I didn't respond. He nodded, almost smiling. Good for you. You deserve it. I raised an eyebrow. That sounds almost genuine. It is, he said. You know what's funny? I thought I was winning when I took everything from you. The job, Clara, your pride. But now... He trailed off, staring at his drink. Now I'd trade every deal I made for one good night's sleep. For the first time, I saw something human behind his eyes. Not guilt, regret. The kind that sinks in too late to fix anything. You won, he muttered finally. I shook my head. No. I just stopped losing. He blinked, confused. What's that supposed to mean? It means I stopped fighting battles you created, I said quietly. Stop measuring my worth by the people who broke me. He leaned back, exhaling shakily. You make it sound easy. It wasn't, I replied. But it was necessary. He looked down. I don't even know who I am anymore. That's the first honest thing you've said, I told him. He gave a small, defeated smile. Guess honesty's all I've got left. Then maybe you should start there, I said, stepping back. He looked up sharply. You're really just going to walk away? Yes. After everything I did? Because of everything you did. He flinched. Don't you ever wish it went differently? I thought for a moment. No. If it did, I might still be the man who needed your approval. Now, I don't. He swallowed hard, eyes glistening. I ruined everything, didn't I? You ruined yourself, I said. I just happened to survive it. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The rain outside softened, tapping gently against the windows. Finally, he whispered, I'm sorry, Ethan. I met his gaze, and for once I believed him. I know, I said. But that's yours to live with, not mine. I turned and walked toward the door. Behind me, I heard him mutter something. Maybe my name, maybe a prayer. I didn't look back. As I stepped into the rain, the cold hit my face, sharp and clean. It didn't sting. It felt freeing. For years, I thought revenge would give me peace, but standing there, drenched and breathing easy, I realized peace came from letting go, from not needing their downfall to justify my healing. I wasn't the man they broke anymore. I was the man who rebuilt himself from what they left behind, and that, I thought, was the regret they truly deserved. A year changes everything. The noise inside my head had quieted, replaced by the steady rhythm of work, laughter, and something I'd once thought impossible: peace. Amelia and I stood outside the glass doors of our new office, the sign gleaming proudly in the morning light, Cole and Rivers' studio. Amelia smiled. We really did it. Yeah, I said, still staring at the name. From ashes to architecture. She laughed softly. That should be our slogan. I grinned. Might actually work. The phone on the reception desk rang. She answered, nodded, then handed it to me. You'll want to take this one. I lifted the receiver. Ethan Cole speaking. Mr. Cole, came a familiar voice, deep and controlled. This is Richard Grant. My fingers tightened around the phone. Clara's father. I hadn't heard that name in over a year. I'm opening a new branch of my company, he continued. I'd like your firm to handle the design. I've followed your recent projects. Impressive work. I hesitated. You're sure about this? Yes, he said after a pause. I know our history complicates things, but I also know talent when I see it. Consider this a chance for both of us to rebuild. I exhaled slowly. All right, let's meet. When I hung up, Amelia tilted her head. Everything okay? Richard Grant, I said quietly. Her brows lifted. Clara's father? The same. She folded her arms. You're taking the job, aren't you? I am. Even after everything? I nodded. Especially after everything. She studied me for a moment, then smiled. That's why I believe in you. The next afternoon, I met him in his downtown office. He looked older, less of the commanding businessman, more of a man who'd seen too much and lost more. When he stood to shake my hand, I noticed his grip trembled slightly. Ethan, he greeted. It's been a long time. It has. I owe you an apology, he said, surprising me. I judged you through the lens of my daughter's choices. I see now she and Liam made their own mess. You were collateral. I held his gaze. You don't owe me anything. We all rebuild in our own way. He nodded, relief crossing his face. Then let's get to work. I want something new. Clean. A place that doesn't remind me of the past. That, I said, is what I do best. We spent hours going over plans. There was no tension, no bitterness, just two men trying to create something better from what life had shattered. As I rolled up the blueprints, he said quietly, Clara's overseas now, trying to start over. I hope she finds peace, I said honestly. He gave a small nod. You already have, haven't you? Yeah, I said. I finally have. When I stepped out of the building, Amelia was waiting by the car, sunlight dancing through her hair. How'd it go? She asked. Closure, I said simply. She smiled. That sounds like a good client name. I laughed. You're full of bad slogans today. Maybe, she teased, but I'm still your best designer. And my best decision, I replied without thinking. Her cheeks flushed, but she didn't look away. You still overwork yourself, she said softly. You should learn to enjoy what you built. I looked around, the skyline, the calm rhythm of the city, her standing beside me. I'm starting to. She stepped closer, her hand brushing mine. You know, I still remember what you said last year, how you didn't trust love anymore. I didn't, I admitted. Then you showed me that love isn't supposed to burn, it's supposed to build. Her eyes softened. So what now, Mr. Cole? Now? I smiled. We build everything we were told we couldn't. She leaned her head on my shoulder. For a long time, we just stood there, watching the city hum with life. When I thought about the man I used to be, the broken one, drowning in betrayal, I almost didn't recognize him. That man chased revenge and found emptiness. This one found peace and purpose, strength and forgiveness, and love in the woman who never walked away. I once thought revenge would fix me. But it wasn't revenge that rebuilt my life. It was creation. It was choosing to turn every wound into a blueprint and every heartbreak into a foundation. As the sun dipped below the skyline, I whispered, I don't hate them anymore. Amelia squeezed my hand. Because you won. I smiled. No, because I healed. And for the first time in years, I knew I'd built something that would last, not from anger or pain, but from the ashes of everything I'd lost, shaped into the life I was always meant to live.